much too complex, too complex, much too complex, too complex, too complex, too complex.
So my name is Rosa Fernandez, and I am going to be directing the staged reading of The Elaborate Entrance of Chad Deity, and
by Kristoffer Diaz.
By Kristoffer Diaz, who also went to Brooklyn College. So I'm kind of proud of that.
Brooklyn College alumni.
Play is about the American dream and how it's something that we all aspire to, but it's not necessarily something that comes easy to everyone. Macedonio Guerra is a wrestler that is also called a jobber, which means that he makes other wrestlers look good. And because of his status as a jobber, he's never really been a champion. He's never been at the top of the wrestling, as it's called, in the play. And this play is about him sort of trying to get to that pinnacle and failing epically at it.
Well, I mean, he gives it a shot and as the best he can. So almost accidentally, he meets another character that we see in the play called VP, who's this Indian American, just dude off the street that he thinks will help him become successful in wrestling because he has the skills, he has charisma, and he has the ability to talk on the mic that Mace lacks. I'm very excited. I'm Jose A.Rivera, by the way. Wrestling and theater have a lot more in common than people think. I think even within wrestling, you know, a lot of the fans there don't even think about theater, and I think the same can be said about theater fans. They don't even think about wrestling, but there's so much overlap between the two, the live performances, the connecting with the audience deciding if you're going to be popular or not, and also the ability to tell stories that deal with the matters at hand, the matters of the time. Wrestling is all about tapping into the sensitivities of its audience, and a lot of that has to do with race and culture, and wrestling is so good at tapping that, and that's why I love this play, because it deals with that. It shows that part of wrestling, and it shows a character, Mace, whose only chance of survival is sort of playing that part of, you know, making the fans think that his culture or his identity is bad. And that's the struggle. It's like, he wants to be successful, but at what cost? Is he willing to sacrifice his own identity, who he is as a person? And for anyone who's trying to realize the American dream as a minority, I feel like that's a question we ask ourselves every day. How far am I willing to go to become successful? How much do I have to lose? Can I keep myself? Can I keep who I am and where I come from with me, or do I have to get rid of all that to make someone else happy? 2009,
and it's
still
more
relevant.
I feel like it's more relevant now with the themes that we're seeing about the outsiders, the foreigners, and the foreign threat. This play is so much more relevant now with, just what's happening in the world than it was when it was written. It's almost more poignant to do it now, because we're seeing those those themes of the Mexican outsider, the people that are coming over here, the Middle Eastern threat, and all of these themes that are sort of pounded into Americans through the media about what you should fear. That's something that's very prevalent in wrestling, because I've always said wrestling is almost like the lowest form of theater. And so it's there, it exists.
And it's a very controlled environment. Yeah. They don't have to. Mace, he's tasked with, he's in the play, his character is Puerto Rican, but he's tasked with playing a very outdated and offensive Mexican stereotype. And that's a very controlled environment. His boss is telling him to do this because he knows it'll get a reaction from the fans, a negative reaction. And all that's controlled. The fans boo because they're taught to boo. They're taught to boo this because that's how wrestling presents. No, we hate this guy, and that's what's so beautiful about it. It's almost a play within a play in a way, and statements of pro wrestling and theater of how a lot of this stuff is controlled. That's the most American you can be. You don't have to be born in this country, but when you come to this country, you're coming because there's a freedom here to do something that you wouldn't have the chance to do in another country. And that's what's beautiful about the play, is that it really gets to the heart of that by using these very cartoony examples of wrestling, but once you really
that are all based in reality.
they're all based on reality, and once you pull back those layers, you realize how deep it can go, and it makes you think a lot and question a lot. And then you're sitting here wondering, like, this is a play about wrestling, and I'm doing all this thinking about real life and cultural identity, and it's fantastic. I love it so much. I love it so much.
Do you?
I do. I really do. It's great.
So yeah, so come see the reading.
Yeah, come see the
on
reading.
Sunday night, October 8th at 6 p.m.
Rola's Travel
It
Theater.
is my favorite price, free $99.
$99.
And just come and support local theater, support theater that, you know, presents diversity on the stage. That's really huge. So
And it's a little bit of wrestling. It's a little bit of theater. So, you know, bring that part of, you know, the audience member that wants to react and cheer, because it's definitely, the play definitely calls for it.
and bring the friend that doesn't like theater too,
Yeah.
because I think they might actually find something that they relate to here, because it's something being presented in a different way.
Too complex, much too complex, too complex, much too complex, too complex, too complex, too complex.
You know, that entrance with Chad Deity. It's just so good. I just can't stop reading it.
Too complex, much too complex,